Jerry Lodovico, 9G, Jerry 9G, 9G Velocity, Sales Mastery. We're still in day one of me posting what it is that I do, of giving you a peek behind the curtains of what really enables a sales professional to truly be successful. Some of you think it's skills. You're not entirely right and you're not entirely wrong. Others think that it's a certain swagger, a certain level of confidence, a certain level of belief. Again, you're not entirely right, you're not entirely wrong. Others believe it's the script. Well, that to me is absolute foolishness. Okay, I do not believe in scripts, never have, never will, and you can't convince me. So, what is it? What is it that is the primary key? Well, first and foremost, you got to be prepared. You got to be prepared on a lot of different levels. And again, I talk about the 4C's of the 9G Velocity Quantum Sales Mastery System. And the 4C's are as follows one more time. Clarity. You got to see exactly not only where it is you want to go and how it's going to be, but you also need to see who you need to be, what you need to be, what you need to see, what you need to feel, what you need to absolutely be confident that you can do, and also your level of certitude, the 4C. Are you going to do it? Do you have the will? Do you have the resolve to do it? See, those are keys. But in order for me to begin effectively, okay, even though I've been at the process for the last 3 weeks or so, maybe a little bit longer than that, I made some really fantastic things happen. But the reason why I took a few weeks in advance to kind of prep the field, if you will, is because I really wasn't sure 100% as to whether or not this system needed tweaking. I knew it worked, okay, but to perform at the level I want to perform at within a 90-day time period, time compression period, that's a little bit different story. I don't know if my original system that I actually built a great career with would be enough. And I'm absolutely confident now that it did need tweaking, and and I also put it into motion, and I ironed out a few rough spots, and now it's happening. So this very first day is solely focused on prospecting. I want to talk to you about prospecting just for a second. See, in my world, in my mind and in my heart and in my soul, I absolutely believe 100%. If you can't prospect, you can't sell. And if you're not willing to prospect, it's one of two reasons. One, you don't know how to do it effectively, so you don't have the confidence level necessary to enable you to be a prolific, massive, maniacal prospecting machine. Or two, you're a coward. And cowardice comes in many forms. Arrogance. Maybe you feel like you paid your dues. Well, let me put it to you this way. There's a lot of people that I'm competing with that have paid their dues. They're pretty good at what they do, extremely successful, and they're about to have their lunches taken away from them. Because there's a new bully in town, and his name is Jerry 9G. High-powered 9G quantum velocity sales mastery. That's me. I'm about ready to eat your lunch, so I'm coming. So prepare. Prepare. I'm giving you a heads up. But at any rate, this first day, a lot of times when you get a great idea, especially those of us that are more experienced, man, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it now. And they start tearing out into the streets and they're all over the place. And it gets a little bit overwhelming, especially if you kind of had your foot off the gas for a while, which would have been my case. All right. So I thought to myself, how am I going to do this most effectively, most efficiently? Well, in carpentry, they say measure twice, cut once. That makes a lot of sense. Well, here, what you need to do is you need to, so to speak, plan twice, execute once. So in light of that, I have a couple of simple steps that I'm taking today, and I'm going to share them with you. Like I said, I'm lifting the veil, I'm lifting the curtain, and I have a huge 90-day goal. Remember, we're doing time compression here. We're not talking about a lifetime. We're not talking about a career. We're not talking about in terms of years. We're talking about in terms of just a couple of months to accomplish something that is so exponentially powerful that most people never ever see this level of performance, but also at the same time, some that do, it takes them years to actually experience and make it happen. And generally they do it once and they don't do it more than once because it took years. It took almost an entire career. It took almost an entire lifetime. So here it is. Step one. I already have some momentum going. So I need to sift through that momentum forensically, and I need to determine what's hot and what's not. Warm, hot, or ready to close. That would be super hot. The second step. Who do I need to meet that I've not met yet? Who do I need to meet that I've not met yet? Well, I have a particular SIC code in mind. That's the SIC code. And I also have a particular volume in mind. I'm in the credit card processing business. I make a very small percentage of the credit card processing volume that a particular account will do. And I make that ongoing, so that's residual income. And I also make some nice bucks up front with regard to equipment leasing. Okay. So, based upon my parameters, I am looking for, within my SIC code, I am looking for businesses that do a minimum volume of 70,000 a month. That means to me about 1,000 to 1,260 a month in residual income. Then I'm looking at the geography, because at the end of the day, I can't be in West Virginia this morning and in Erie, Pennsylvania in the afternoon. I could, but it doesn't make much sense. Too much time behind the wheel and not enough time in front of prospects. Prospecting. So, how am I going to make my first contact with these people that I've not met yet? Well, based upon the momentum that I have going, I'm going to be scheduling some times to go see some certain folks. So when I get into the area geographically, I'm going to take a look at the SIC codes in that area, and I'm going to identify every single one of them that I think would do 70,000 or more a month. Now, am I right all the time? Of course not. Sometimes I walk through the door, I think they're doing 70, they're doing 10. Or sometimes I think they're doing 70 and they're doing over 100, 200 maybe. Okay, but at the end of the day, it all averages out. But I'm walking through those doors anyway. I'm walking through every single door that I target if I'm already going to be in an area. If I'm not in that area yet and want to go to that area, what I want to do is I want to target, based upon Google Maps, okay, who falls into the parameters that I've just described. And I make that first contact, but I don't try to schedule an appointment. All I want to do is introduce myself. All I want to do is let them hear my voice, know my name. All I want to do is get their contact information if I can. If I can, get their email. If I can, get their cell phone number. Not just their business number, but also their cell phone number. Okay, and out of all of those people that I talk to, not everybody's going to give that to me if I'm talking to the actual decision makers themselves. But a lot of them will. So based on that, everybody that I speak to that gives me that contact information, or even if they're reticent about giving me that contact information, I go and see them. If they're rude to me, I go and I see them. I'll never forget one time when I had a guy on the phone, I called him and he starts screaming at me. He goes, "I don't take sales calls from no salesman on the telephone." And he hung up the phone. So I got in my car and I drove this was in Uniontown. I drove all the way to Uniontown. It took me about an hour. Drove to Uniontown. He goes, "Hi, how you doing? What can I do for you today?" I said, "My name's Jerry Ludovico." He said, "Oh, nice to meet you." He didn't remember he was speaking to me earlier that day. I said, "I'm the guy you really yelled at and said you don't talk to salesmen on the phone." But I took a shot and thought maybe you talk to salesmen when they walk through your door. And he looked at me and he starts smiling. He goes, "All right, man, I got to give you props for that. What you got?" And we engaged, and he ended up becoming a customer or a client. Okay. So, I'm going to walk through that door if I speak to you. I'm going to walk through that door if I'm talking to, I happen to get a hold of somebody and you're not there at the moment, but the gatekeeper gives me your contact information. I'm going to walk through that door. At all costs, I'm going to walk through that door. See, I use the phone, but I use the phone very, very selectively because the phone, it can be effective in lieu of doing nothing. But at the same time, the most powerful way of prospecting is in person. Because that's where the energy comes in. That's where the connection comes in. That's where the invisible stuff comes in. And we're going to talk a lot about that as we go through this process. So, who do I go to see? Anyone who speaks to me. Any gatekeeper who gives me accurate contact coordinates. Schedule IP geographically. in person, geographically. I go see them according to geography, and that's how I'm going to plan my day. Now, what my goal is 810 executions within a 90-day time period. Now, that's pretty robust. That's 54 a day. Now, can I walk through 54 doors a day? Yes. Will I walk through 54 doors a day? I'm not sure, but I'm damn sure going to try. Because you know what? I may walk through a door and I may get engaged. I may be tied up for an hour, hour and a half. You never know. I may not get through those 54 doors. But my goal is to walk through all 54 doors. And I'm going to do my very best to meet that goal and maybe even beat that goal every single day while in this first 15 days. 15 days, 810 executions. That's a lot. That's a lot. I don't know how many of you out there have walked through 54 doors a day. I know there's some door-to-door guys, they do that every single day. God bless you. My hat's off to you. And that's what I'm going to do. You know why? Because this time I'm going all in. This time I'm going to prove that the model and the philosophy and the doctrine that we've been trained by is not effective. It's not enough. It barely even scratches the surface of our potential. So that's what's happening, ladies and gents. And I'll probably be working on this till late at the night. And so if I don't see you later today, I will see you in the morning, bright and early, sunshine.